say that she should be president of the United States because it's her turn.
Yeah.
She deserves it. She's earned it. By staying with him, by trying to clear the field of other Democrats who wanted to run.
Sure.
And it says that's not how we pick a president, ladies and gentlemen. That's not democracy. It's not a monarchy. It's not who's next in line. But by the way, the royalism that portends usually infects the Republican Party. Who's next in line? Who lost to the person? Who lost to the person who won? And I'm so thrilled that this year we have a nominee who earned it fairly and squarely, who took his message directly to the people and came out of nowhere literally.
Absolutely.
They're the ones trying to fight against the grassroots, saying, why did you give us this turkey?
One other thing that Bill Clinton said at the same conference was, he said the system is rigged. In other words, Bill Clinton and Donald Trump are on the same page. Delicious.
Same as Obamacare. He came out and said, and people thought, wow, he must be clearing the field. He might be helping out Hillary Clinton by pointing out problems with Obamacare. He later he's been trying to walk it back ever since. So he didn't make a cagey mistake. He actually made a mistake in being candid.
Oh, they know what they're doing. Meanwhile, the presidential candidates have less than 48 hours to make an impact. Donald Trump crisscrossing between 5 different battleground states today. 5! Hillary Clinton shifting her focus, adding last-minute stops in Michigan, and that's troublesome for her camp.
Matt Finn is live in Ann Arbor, Michigan, with the pulse of the people there. Matt, what are the voters saying to you?
Well, voters have mixed opinions here, and of course, Michigan has become a hotly contested state. Both the Clinton and Trump campaigns and their surrogates are barnstorming here in these final hours. Bill Clinton is set to be here today, the president, and Hillary Clinton here tomorrow. Republican VP nominee Mike Pence has been here 3 days in a row leading into this weekend. Now, Michigan is typically a Democratic stronghold, but Clinton's lead here has whittled from 11 to 4 points, according to the Real Clear average. Trump's campaign has got to knock off at least one blue state in his path to the White House, and Michigan might just be one of them. This morning, the RNC chair says Michigan is critical to both sides. Listen to him and some voters we just spoke to.
We follow the data, and the data tells us that Michigan is a jump ball. It's tied, and lo and behold, polls come out after our predictive modeling and say the same thing. And so we know where the opportunities are at. We know what counties to go to, and that's what you see the candidates doing.
Because I feel dissatisfied with both candidates, I don't feel comfortable choosing the lesser of two evils necessarily, when I could use my vote, at least as, I know people call it different things, but as a protest vote.
You're a fucking retarded bitch.
Now, we are here in Ann Arbor, home of the University of Michigan, so of course there are thousands of college-aged voters. These millennial voters have posed a problem to both Clinton and Trump. Clinton has recently been aided by A-lister musicians like Jay-Z and Katy Perry to appeal to these millennials. Trump's camp says he just doesn't need those celebrity endorsements. And Donald Trump is expected to end his campaigning here in Michigan and Grand Rapids tomorrow. Back to you in New York.
All right, Matt Finn, a lot on the ground in Michigan, where suddenly Hillary Clinton is putting money into TV ads, which they stopped doing because they thought it was in the bag. Not so much.
I watched Robbie Mook say last night that the Trump people have no plan. They're just going everywhere. They're desperate. It's an interesting way to spin it. I don't think they even believe that, because they wouldn't be responding like this if that indeed was how they felt.
We keep hearing the phrase jump ball. Brian was explaining the sports enthusiast.
You have an
what
equal
does jump ball
shot.
mean?
Can you imagine
It's a
being in a
tie.
state and you actually have a shot at getting that ball?
Both sides have the ability to tip it in their favor.
And Kellyanne Conway was with us a little while ago, and she said the reason suddenly Trump Pence are going to Minnesota is because their internal polling shows that they're within 3 points of Hillary Clinton, and so that is a wise investment of a visit to the land of 10,000 lakes.
One of the real challenges of doing these rapid changes and rapid events, because you're getting closer and closer when it comes to the polls. Minneapolis is probably the best example. Minnesota was what happened last night in Nevada. They said, well, you know, we got to make sure we're going to win this thing. We're going to show up in Nevada and Reno, in the Reno area. We're going to go and do a live event, and thousands show up. And Donald Trump is sitting on stage, and he hears some commotion in the middle. And next thing you know, he's being ushered off. I was actually watching this live, and to see him push like that is stunning. And to see the focus then go to the middle and find out it was a guy over there with a sign that says Republicans for Hillary, trying to create a stir. But the real story was what they yelled. And that was what Secret Service yells when someone has a gun.
Right.
And that's gun, gun, gun. and you watch the Secret Service not only get them off, but put their body in front of them as they escort them off.
Apparently, the guy had the sign. It sounds like in the waist, he was pulling it out, and somebody started screaming "gun," and that's what precipitated all that. Donald Trump, though, came back out on stage a couple of minutes later. What's interesting, though, one of the top political guys over at Politico spun it in such a direction that he wound up deleting the tweet a little later on.
This is what he tweeted originally. Thank God Trump is okay. Hopefully he'll tamp down the negativity and discourage confrontation at his events by singling out reporters, etc. All right, keep in mind, this is a Hillary Clinton supporter who was in the crowd and did this and screaming gun, and the media is blaming Donald Trump for that?
Within 10 minutes on another network, they were saying that Donald Trump forecast this by the way he is so volatile on stage, which is incredible and irresponsible. Number two is
That was MSNBC,
from
bunch of
Politico.
cocksuckers.
We did this ebook on the Obama administration, which was very critical of them early on. It turns out that when the WikiLeaks dropped, it turns out there's at least 2 emails from Glenn Thrush, where he calls himself a hack. As he said first to Jennifer, one was to Jennifer Palmieri saying, here's a feature on you, what do you think of it? The other was to John Podesta saying, what do you think about this article? I'm about to publish it. And John Podesta says, looks good to me. Can you imagine having that done and then still having the audacity to tweet that
The
out?
only reason you'd ever do that is because you wanted to be in their back pocket and you wanted to support them.
That's a
You wanted your
cocksucker right there on the
image.
left and the right.
Conflicts with the integrity. of
Cocksuckers.
journalism. You can't do that.
When
Not you guys.
asked The subject of the piece to say, is this okay with you? That seems to be something. It would be
Seems to be
curious.
something.